Welcome back to Becoming Influential, the show where we get straight to the strategies and authentic stories behind some of the best content creators in the country. Today's guest left her 9-to-5 to pursue her passion. If you needed living proof to do the same, she is the perfect guest to tune in and listen to her story. Megan, thanks so much for joining me. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for this.
I'm excited because when I thought about the show Becoming Influential, you were one of the first people that came to mind because you were working a traditional 9-to-5 job before you bet on yourself. For those who don't follow you, what were you doing before you started pursuing this full time?
Yeah, I have been all over the sports industry space for the last 15 years, which is I'm very grateful for. Every experience I've had, I started in college doing sports marketing. Right out of college, I was selling tickets. So I was an account executive making those cold calls. From there, I went to managing season ticket holder accounts, to partnerships, to social media. So I have worked on the back end and on the front office side of sports from 2010 till about 2020, 21. And that's when I decided that, you know what, I want to try something different. In all honesty, I just felt like I was searching for something in every career stop that I couldn't quite find, and I felt like I needed to find that in myself.
And did you major in multimedia or journalism or communications or anything like that? Like, how did content creation become the missing link for you?
That is why I think my path is so untraditional, is because I didn't. I majored in marketing, so
Oh,
I
wow.
did have a lot of that experience, but I did not major in broadcast journalism or anything within that world. Though I did have, this is my favorite part of, I think, my lore, is I did have a sports broadcasting class my senior year of college. And I dropped it after 2 days because I don't know what I thought I was getting into when I signed up for sports broadcasting. But then when I realized I had to talk on camera, immediately no.
And here you are talking on camera.
The class. So that's why it's just probably my favorite part of my whole story was that it wasn't where I initially thought I would be, but it's where I ended up. And I just learned everything along the way.
Wow. That's just amazing. And that's why I love bringing different types of content creators and influencers on here, because everyone's story is different. I had someone on here for my last show who she does food content creation, food influencing. She got her start because she was a Yelp food review person. And I'm like, what?
Oh.
That's like an OG influencer, because I am a big Yelp user. I'm always on Yelp, trying to figure out, what restaurants to go to, which ones not to go to, what to eat when I get there, etc. And now she started doing that to she's now a food influencer on social media on all different platforms, and she has her own website. So it's just so interesting to hear how everyone started, including you, because it just proves that there's no perfect formula to becoming an influencer or a content creator. You're living proof of that, Megan.
Well, and I will say, again, I'm an open book. And so in all honesty, sometimes that contributes to a little bit of imposter syndrome, because I look at peers, I look at yourself, I look at others who majored in this and kind of came up through the trenches, started with news stations and worked their way up to these larger networks. And I feel like I bypassed all of that because I came in at a time when TikTok and Instagram and content creation were on the rise. So it does play into a little bit of who am I? What am I doing here? I need to figure out where I exist in all of this. But I do think that is also what makes this time that we live in so powerful, is if you have a personality, if you can be authentic, if you have the skills to speak on camera, and if you have the right network, you can make this a career.
You brought up authenticity, and your niche is so authentic and specific to you. How did you land on, sports? And I feel like you're sports and style, and honestly soccer, I feel probably is your main, but I feel you also, obviously you're a woman, so you focus on women in sports too. It's just so specific and so authentic and perfect for you. How did you land on that?
It's such a great question, because honestly, my niche, I feel, has evolved so much over the last, let's say 15 years. Sports started in college when I got that first internship with my athletic department, fell in love with it. I was like, I have to do this. I was fiending for a career in sports. That's where it started. And, my first, let's say, 9 years in the industry was really focusing on your, let's say, traditional sports. working in the NBA, working in college football, working in NFL, covering like those major 4 leagues. Then I like to say that where I'm at now, soccer sort of chose me, and that began in 2021 when I decided to go self-employed, decided to go freelance as a social media marketer, content creator, a new green on air host, and all of the projects I was getting were in soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I had inherently started to really follow and love the sport really because of the US women's national team. I think that's similar to a lot of other people who are being introduced to the sport, is likely because of the success of the women. Anyways, at the moment didn't really understand why it was just like soccer fell in my lap. In hindsight, it makes sense. 4 years ago, the sport was really starting to grow here. Now we're seeing a major boom. It's going to be huge next year with the World Cup. And so I'm fortunate that I've gotten to grow alongside it here in America. So I like to say soccer chose me. And then I'm honestly, to this day, I'm still trying to really figure out how I can exist in the space that is authentic to me. Again, coming back to that word, I like to tell stories about heritage and belonging. It's such a global game. Mm-hmm. It's one of the most beautiful things about that sport is you can connect with anyone from their culture, from different countries, from different walks of life, because we all speak the language of soccer. And so I like to tell those stories of how it connects people to their heritage. And then I'm also kind of playing into the fashion and the lifestyle space a little bit. It's fun. I think unlike other sports, soccer has this really fun ability to become a part of everyday fashion, especially in Europe. Wearing a jersey, wearing a shirt is everyday fashion, and I'm trying to bring that here to America. So I'm still evolving. I'm still figuring out where I fit within it all, but soccer has definitely become like my beat, my niche, and I love it.
Well, women's sports has become more accessible, I feel like, these days. And so, if you make it accessible to people, they're going to watch it and it's going to continue to grow. We've seen that with, you mentioned women's soccer. We've seen that with women's basketball, women's volleyball, has been all over my timeline this week. So it's just been incredible to just see, like you mentioned, the word evolve, to see how everything has evolved since we were in school. You probably could barely find any of these women's games on TV. You probably had to stream it. Now we can find it all on whatever cable that we have these days. So that is incredible. In your own words, how would you describe your brand? So say if someone was going to your page, how would you describe your brand in your own words? I feel like I'm making you do your elevator pitch, I guess.
You're making me do an elevator
pitch on yourself. It's it's weird to hear yourself talk about yourself, but you're your best advocate. You are your best advocate,
100%. And I laugh because I'm going through this sort of rebrand, really narrowing down what I do and how I exist online with my team, with my agents. So I'm laughing because this is something I should have been thinking of over time. I mean, I kind of look at it in 2 ways. On Instagram, I really see myself as soccer host, styling fits, telling those longer form stories, again, of that heritage and belonging in soccer. TikTok's a little bit different, and I think that's true for really anyone on TikTok. You can be a little bit more raw. You can be a little bit more all over the place. It doesn't have to be as polished, I think, is a great way of describing TikTok. And everything I said about Instagram is also true on TikTok. But one thing I've been layering in as of the last couple weeks is I'm trying to learn F1. And I'm learning it out loud. And by that I mean I am being very open about my journey towards fandom on TikTok, posting about it, trying to learn as I go. So how I would define it is a little bit in progress, I would say, in TikTok. But the way I wrote my bio on TikTok was soccer host and content creator, styling fits, flirting with F1. And then I'd layer in all these other weird obsessions I have, my Hello Kitty collection that's facing me right now. And
that's
some
fine.
of that, and the dog content and the relationship content and things like that. So TikTok is a work in progress, but I would definitely define myself as a content creator and a host who exists in the world of fashion and the world of long form storytelling, especially when it comes to helping people feel connected to their heritage.
See, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I don't feel like you have to be put into a box, especially in content creation. Like, you know, you have some people who are like lifestyle hosts, but they also post like mom content, and they might post like married content, family content. Like, you don't have to be in like one specific box. So I love that for you, that you're kind of itching yourself into multiple different boxes, and also like learning as you go. Evolve. You brought that up. So authenticity, evolve. They're like common themes here. Now I want to get into the nitty gritty because, you know, you started 2021, you said full time, but obviously you don't just like have microwave success. How long did it take you to finally feel like, okay, I can truly make it on my own as a full-time content creator and influencer?
It's a great question, and I look at my situation with a grateful heart. I'll say the decision to go full-time freelance, full-time content creator didn't come lightly, though I will say was a tad impulsive when I look back on it. I had a freelance opportunity lined up at the time that was enough to get by. Like, it was going to pay my bills every month. And it didn't work out after about 2 months. And I'm fortunate that I have built this strong network in our space, again, since, let's say, I started working in the space in 2010, but let's really say 2014, 2015. And I attribute so much of that to OG Twitter. Like, I miss OG Twitter so much, and that is where I have built all of my connections. Likely my connection with you probably started on OG Twitter.
Literally.
And we've transferred, you know, we've moved to different platforms since, as we've all dispersed, whether off the app or, you know, have started to spend our time elsewhere. So when I started freelancing, and it was uncomfortable, but I put it out there. Like, I put out a bat signal on social media that I am now available for freelance. That's where those inbound inquiries were coming through, was through this network I had built. And so I bring that up to say I'm very conscious of the fact that freelance life is not easy for anyone. And even for myself, it's still not easy, but I have had the opportunity to work on a lot of projects because of those relationships I've built. So I will say I feel I was at least like probably half a step ahead, because it was a little bit easier for me to field those leads and to find those opportunities than I think most people would. Though I will say it did take about a year and a half for me to really find my footing. Like, those first 6 months, I was counting down to every penny. I was budgeting to every last cent because I needed to make it work, especially in this economy for anybody, but living in California, like,
yes.
the rent's not fun here. And so it's,
The rent,
I would say,
the gas,
about
everything.
everything. We're lucky if it gets below $4 in gas
Literally.
here. So I really took me about a year and a half to find my footing. And I'll say, to this day, I've been doing this for 4.5 years. And there are those peaks and there are those valleys, and there are those moments where the money's coming in and you're feeling good, and then there are those moments where the money's a little bit slower, and it really just depends on the time of the year, the calendar, your net payment terms, all those fun things that freelancers deal with. So it's been a process, and again, I know that my journey's been, I would say, like, easier than others, because I've been able to find those opportunities. But yeah, it's not for the weak.
I appreciate you doing that, because I feel like, you know, the whole point of the show is to like pull back the filter, because when you look at someone's Instagram, you can think like, okay, like they've never had to struggle, they've never had to do this, that, but like that's not true. What we're posting on social media is our highlight. Really, it's our highlight. We don't really post much about our lowlights. We might occasionally, but not too often. And so this show is great because, you know, you're sitting here telling me like, hey, I, you know, decided to do freelance full time starting in 2021, but you know, it was a struggle. It still can be sometimes, you know, there's hills and valleys, but it took this many years to me to get like comfortable. And it was because you bet on yourself, which is funny because I know people from OG Twitter too that have posted their sports reporting reels and they've gotten gigs from that. So it's always important to like use LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, et cetera, to your advantage. It's not always, you know, a job application that you're going to be applying to. Sometimes it's simply letting the world know like, hey, I'm available for work. So Thank you.
100%.
Thank you for putting that out there. We're going to take a quick break and come right back and dive a little bit more into your day-to-day. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Becoming Influential. Megan has been incredible so far. I've truly enjoyed just like learning about how you've gotten from, you know, where you started to where you are today. It's been incredible. I'm sure everyone is just as inspired as I am. Now I kind of want to get into the nitty-gritty of the day-to-day because I feel like, you know, one of the first things, like when you're meeting a student who wants to be where you are, meeting someone who wants to be where you are, they're always like, what's a typical day like for you? And obviously for you, I'm sure the answer is going to be, well, every day is different. So in terms of content creation, is it like you're batch creating on one day and then editing throughout the week? Is it kind of every other day? Because I know you do a lot of traveling. What's a normal week like for you?
Oh, I don't have a normal week, and you definitely hit the nail on the head. If anyone follows me on social media, you see I am constantly in the air. I think 86 flights will be by the end of the year because I have 2 more flights coming up this week. So a travel day is a travel day, and it depends on where I'm going and what I'm doing. So for example, this year I was the stadium host for San Diego WAVE in NWSL, and what I would do is I would fly in day of, go from the airport to my hotel, get ready, and go from the hotel to the stadium for pre-production meetings, rehearsals, do the game, go to the hotel, sleep, and then fly out the next night, which is where a lot of those like 86 flights come in, right? It's a lot of back and forth. But a day at home as a content creator, again, in all vulnerability, I'm figuring it out. I think the answer most people will say is that they batch record, get everything done on a Monday or Tuesday, and then edit throughout the week, and it makes that volume posting a lot easier. I can't get myself to do that to an extent. And I think it's because something I might film one day, I realize the next day I don't like that, or I didn't want to go in that direction. I wish I had said something else. And so how I've been doing it lately is for example, I did like 3 videos yesterday for yesterday and today. And so I kind of like batch every other day. And what I have to do is I have to edit that day. Otherwise, the videos will sit there on my laptop or will sit there on my phone, and I won't get around to it.
That's me.
So I have to edit in the moment. I will be honest, it's not my strong suit. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I'm learning to love editing, and I'm learning to make it a fun process. So if I do it right away and get it out there, it makes it a little bit easier. But I kind of like to joke that I live this sort of semi-retired life because I can wake up on any day and like decide what I want to do and decide, you know, I run my errands in the morning because it's when the grocery stores and all the stores are the emptiest, and call my mom who's actually retired and she's doing basically the same thing. But that's because like my work really comes in on the weekends when I'm traveling.
Well, I mean, that's the best part about you're basically your own boss. Like, you're setting your own schedule. I mean, obviously you have your set times for like when you're at San Diego WAVE being, you know, an in-stadium host, but outside of that, you're setting your own schedule. So you can record when you want to, edit when you want to. But I find it so interesting how different, again, every content creator is in terms of what their setup is. And I can fully admit, in my phone right now, I have so many come to work with me's from like Patriots or Get Dressed With Me or whatever. I have so many videos that I have filmed and have not edited. They're just in my phone. And at this point, they're a year old. So
I don't see,
it's bad.
If there's anything I will say on this episode and that I want anyone to take away is it is post the video, post the video, post the video, post the video. Like even with me learning F1 out loud, I'm like a little bit shy. I don't know if I'm like saying someone's name wrong or if I'm sounding dumb. And where I'm trying to exist in this space is where F1 and soccer cross over. I feel like it's the most inherent natural thing. And again, I'm like, is this redundant? Like, our F1 fans would be like, yeah, we know all of this. But who cares? Post the video. So even if it's like a year old, even if it's 3 months old, post it, because I am learning that these opportunities come in silence when you don't know it. The videos that you think no one are watching, even for me, like the 200 views, that can be discouraging. Someone's watching. So post the video anyways.
I like that you said that, because I feel like for me, I can get discouraged, like where I'm like, okay, I've spent, 3 hours editing this video and it has 200 views. But it does happen where it all it takes is one person to see it. Like, I've actually seen that lately, especially this year, where I might have gone like 3 or 4 months without posting at all because I just needed a break. And then literally while I was on that break, someone happened to come across my video and like, hey, like, do you want to freelance for me? And so sometimes it's like literally you might see 3 months after the fact that someone's seeing the video. It might not be instantaneous. So trust the process, as the coaches always say. I also heard you mention, Megan, earlier that you have an agent. How many people are on your team, or I guess how many people do you have helping you, or like how many people are you leaning on? Who's in your circle?
Yeah, so on my agency side, which I'm with CSE Talent, so shout out the whole CSE family.
Me too, twins.
Okay, yes. So I have my agent at CSE, and then they also just brought in someone who specializes in influencer and digital marketing. So I now have, let's say, 2 people on my team at CSE, though anyone, including yourself, will know that like the whole agency has your back. I have 2 day-to-day points of contact, but like I'm sure if I needed anything from any of them, they would all help out. Mm-hmm. So I have those 2 with, you know, like the business side of things, mm-hmm. and also the accountability, especially now I have this new point of contact who's really helping me and encouraging me to like become a TikTok star. So now I have the like, where are you at with your strategy? Where are you at with your content? Like, how are you defining your brand online? Yeah. Yes. And I'll say like, shout out to her, but even when I'm like, yeah, I don't post that often because like the lighting in my house sucks, blah, blah, blah. She's like, okay, that's great. That's an excuse. And it's like, period. Hurts to hear, but you're like, you know what? You're right. So I have those 2. And then I'll say also like, my boyfriend is such an incredible support system, not just the emotional support, but he comes to almost like all my events. He films almost all my content. He's also a drone operator, so he'll fly his drone, and I incorporate a lot of that into my content when and where I can. If we're at an event and they allow him to fly the drone, like that's going into my content. And he also like gives me a lot of ideas. He'll tell me like, you should do this, or we'll be out, and he'll just grab my phone and start recording, which I appreciate dearly, because, you know, some partners get annoyed, mm-hmm, with the filming, yep, and the constant phone, but he's definitely supportive of it. So I'd say like those 3 are the biggest in my circle.
It takes
and then,
a
you know, my best friends and my family, they support whatever. They're going to like and comment on whatever, and I think that's the most important. But I do a lot of it myself, and I should lean on more people for help, especially when it comes to editing, like doing it. And it would probably make my job a lot easier, because a lot of people, a lot of our favorite content creators, mm-hmm, and influencers have a team, and they, mm-hmm, have a big team. And a lot of them can edit themselves, but likely outsource and have someone else edit, because it's really not sustainable to do, mm-hmm, everything yourself. So some of your favorite TikTokers like probably do edit, and probably also have someone else edit. And I know if I want to get to that point of growing, I need to start asking for some more help. But as of right now, it's mainly myself plus my agents and my partner.
Well, you've got a great village, Megan, and I truly appreciate just all the gems that you have shared with us today, from your authenticity to how you're evolving every single day to, you know, the people behind the scenes that are helping you that we don't even know about, to just like how your strategy, like it's okay if it's different every single day. It's okay if you like your schedule is different every single day. Everyone's different. There's no perfect blueprint, and you can see that from the very beginning of this episode with how you got started. So thank you so much for coming on Becoming Influential and telling us your whole story, pulling back the filter, being so authentic and like honest with us, because we need more people like you. The best influencers are the ones that are the most relatable, and you are exactly that. So thank you so much for today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. We'll have more content creators and influencers coming in the next few weeks. But if I don't see you virtually before then, have a great happy holidays. I said have a great happy holidays. Have a great holiday break, and happy new year. We'll see you next time.